Hey everyone, my name is Jonathan McNulty. I'm a physiotherapist here in Calgary, Alberta. And what I'm going to do today is just take you through a basic exercise routine that you can kind of mix and match and make your own. So what's going to consist of is 8 exercises that we're going to do in supersets. And what that means is we're going to pick 2 exercises and we're going to alternate back and forth. The point of this, or why people do this, is that you're able to do 2 different exercises, so 2 different muscle groups at a higher intensity because you're not taking breaks to let your muscles recover. And at that higher intensity, or with that higher intensity, you're getting a higher heart rate, which is ultimately going to give you more benefit from the exercise. So I have 8 exercises. Once you get the general idea, you can kind of pick your own exercises or do whatever you like. For the 8 exercises, I'm going to show you the basic way to do them. And then I'm going to do a progression, so something to make it harder, or a regression, something to make it easier. So basically, whatever skill level you are, you should be able to complete these exercises and still get a good workout in. So the exercises are going to be written out as well below, so you can copy and paste and kind of do your own thing there. But let's get started. Okay, so bear with me on this one. I'm kind of just filming this with books and stuff like that. So the first exercise, the first superset we're going to do is a squat and a bird dog. So the squat, I'm just going to go through really quickly. Usually what I use to teach the squat is some type of chair or something that someone can sit on, because everyone knows how to sit on something and how to stand on something. So we're going to go through this really quickly. So the basic squat form that I want, I know you can't see my head, but bear with me, is squatting down into a chair. Knees are roughly around 90, coming back up. So the normal version is you're going down, you're touching, and you're coming back up, okay? You would do this 10 times, and then you would switch to the other exercise. Now, to make this harder, you basically increase the time that you're contracting, or have something heavy to hold on to. So, for this one, you would go down slower, tapping, coming back up, okay? That makes it harder. I don't have it with me, but if you have a jug of water or something that you can hold in front of you to add some weight, that can also make it a little bit more difficult. Now, the easier version of this is simply sitting down into a chair and then coming back up. Okay? You can do it at your own pace. I would just recommend a pace that you are breathing a little bit heavier. Still comfortable, but breathe a little bit heavier. So that way you're getting a good workout in. So we'll go on to the next exercise now. All right, so the next exercise is going to be a bird dog. So I give this one often when patients just need a little bit of a core exercise, kind of involving the whole body. So I'll demonstrate it right now. So what you're going to do, down on all fours, core is contracted. You're going to go opposite arm and opposite leg straight out. Okay, so it's going to be like this. The bed is in the way, but you get the idea. And you're going to alternate. Okay? Straight back, like this. Okay? So that's the basic exercise. To make it harder, you are going to straight out, in, touching, out, and then down. That would be considered 1. And you would do that about 6 to 8 times. Now, if you want to make it even harder, you're in a push-up position. Okay? You're going to go up with one leg, one arm, and down. I don't have the room here, but you would extend fully out. Now, the regression, or something to make this easier, down on all fours, and you're just going to start with the arm. So arms go straight out in front of you, try to reach as high as you can, and then you would move to the leg. So 2 hands on the ground, and you're just going to kick straight out. When you kick out, really try to squeeze that glute, get that leg as straight as you can. Okay? In all versions of this, I would like ideally a straight line from your shoulders through your hips and to your foot. So that's the second of the superset. So what you would do the squats down on the floor. You do 10 squats, 8 of these, 8 each side. So you do 16. You can count 16 in total if you like. So you'd alternate those 3 times. So that's the first of the supersets. So the second superset that we're going to start here is, first one is the bridge. So I'm sure you guys have already all heard of a glute bridge before, but I'm going to demonstrate it just in case. So we're going to do, laying down, hands on the floor, You're gonna drive through your heels, come up and down, okay? Big thing about this one, really want you to contract the core. Sometimes an arch in the back can cause a little bit of discomfort. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna contract that core first, go up, really pushing with your glutes, okay? So to make this harder, you would just use less support. So the normal is starting hands by your side. You could do hands this way. You could also do kicks. So on your back, you're kicking straight out, keeping that. Or down and up with one. Main thing is getting that good extension. Now to make this easier, really want you to use your arms for this one. So your arms are really there to support you, and you don't need to go up all the way if you can't. So this is enough to start. Just getting your butt off the ground, keeping your core contracted, but just your butt off the ground for a number of 10. Okay, so that's the first superset. What we're gonna do next is wall push-ups. So the second exercise in the superset, you're gonna do the bridge, then you go to a wall push-up. Now, if it's easy enough, we'll just jump right straight to the progression. You just do a regular push-up on the ground, or you can do it from your knees. But the main thing I wanted to show that today is the regression with this exercise. Most people are pretty comfortable with the push-up as it is. So, with the wall push-up, you can play around with hand placement. I would recommend straight out in front of you when you're on a little bit of an angle. Obviously, the more of an angle you're at, increases the work. But what I really want you to do is your shoulder blades, the whole time, you're gonna kind of try to push them down. So you're pushing your shoulder blades down, so your shoulders are in a set position, which is basically the most stable position your shoulders can be in, so that any exercise that you're doing with your arms is done safely. So what you're gonna do, shoulders are set, they're pushed down, you're gonna come in and out, okay? You do 10 of those. Same thing on the ground. I really want your shoulders to be pushed down. What can sometimes happen, this can be on the ground, is the shoulders hike up a little bit and the elbows flare out. I really want upper neck to be relaxed, lower back activated, pushing those shoulder blades down, keeping that head nice and tall, going down and up, okay? Main thing again, just keeping those shoulders in a nice stable position. Okay, so for the next exercise, we're gonna go through a lunge. Now, the lunge can be done a number of different ways. The lunge that I'm going to show you right now is the one I prefer for patients just because of how the body works. It's an easier way to get the same result. So, what you're going to do is you're going to, I'll go sideways, it's a lot easier to visualize. So, step out in front. So, like you would normally when you're stepping forward to walk, that's roughly around what you want. You can kind of play with the front foot a little bit. The main thing is that front foot is straight in line with the right, so my right foot is right in line with my right hip. So what you're gonna do, what you sometimes see, or what I sometimes see when I get people to do a lunge, is they do this, right? They come really far forward with it. Not necessarily wrong, it just puts a lot of pressure on your front leg. So what I want, comfortable position in a lunge position, heel can come up, doesn't really matter. Heel can stay up the whole time if you like. I'm really focused on this front leg though. You're gonna go straight down with it. So, straight down to the ground like this, and up. You'll notice it takes a lot of the pressure off your front leg, but you're still getting a good workout. So down, and up. Okay? So, progression or something to make it harder. I have the bed here. Get that back leg up on something that's higher than the ground. So a step or whatever. Same thing. Going straight down, straight up, down, up. This one again, would like you to do 10 times each leg. So you do 10 one leg, 10 the other, then switch. Now a regression or something that you can do to make this easier is have something to hold on to. So I have the handle of the door here. I would recommend a kitchen counter. That's usually what I recommend to my patients. And all you're gonna do, down, partially, and up, okay? Once you're comfortable with this, you can go as far as you like. Now, you don't need to go all the way to the bottom. That's just as far, I guess, as your body is gonna go. Really, coming down to here is enough. So to start, if you're not comfortable, have something to hold on to, down partially, up. work on 50%, getting to 75 until you can get all the way just about, probably about 10 centimeters off the ground, and then come back up. Again, with any of these exercises, I really want you to be controlled through the movement. I don't want you going really, really fast, because then you're kind of missing some of the exercise that you could be doing. So that's it for the third superset. We're going to go into the fourth one now. Okay, so for the start of our third superset, we're going to do something called a Pilates Plank, is what I've been calling it. Pilates Plank and Lunge. So first, the Pilates Plank. What that is, and you may know it by a different name, but down on all fours, and all you're going to do, keeping your core nice and contract, your feet, you're going to tuck your toes in, and all you're doing from this position, if you can see, just raising your knees off the ground. So this would be a Pilates Plank. You would hold this position with the regular one, I would ideally probably about 15 to 20 seconds. Now you can kind of do it as much as you like, but I would aim for 15 to 20 seconds of a hold. Now, a progression, or something to make this harder, is movement while in that position. So I'll kind of demonstrate. I'll go in a little bit of an angle here. So you're going to go feet up, and then you're going to step sideways, okay? And back. Or feet up, you're going to move forward. Now, regression is simply just doing it for 3 to 5 seconds, if that's all you can do in the beginning. So you go into the same position, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, down. Now I did that one a little bit incorrectly. I would ideally your hips line straight down from your hips. So again, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down. So that's the Pilates Plank, or it could be a number of different names. That's the first exercise in the third set. Now we're going to go on to the lunge. Okay, so now into the fourth superset. What we're going to do is hip abduction, and I'll show you what that means right now. So we're going to start with laying on your side. So this is going to be the basic version. Now, your hips are going to be stacked, and what that means is your hips are going to be straight vertical. I don't want any rolling forward or rolling backwards, okay? And so what you're going to do, drive your legs straight up, straight down, okay? When you do this, I want you to really focus on your heel. So you're going to, if you need to, just turn your foot down a little bit and really try to focus on pushing with that heel. If we turn our leg out like this, it's involving more of the quad, and that's not really what we're getting at. We're trying to focus on the glute here. So you're going to push with your heel. Do this 10 times. Switch to the other side. Now to make it harder, you would just put some type of weight on your foot. If you do have bands at home, like I have here, bands can go around any part of your leg. Or if you don't have bands, you can just put a heavy boot, a ski boot, or something on your foot to make it a little bit more challenging. Same thing as before, as I mentioned with the squat, go a little bit slower if you are noticing it's getting a little bit easier. Now, a regression, or something to make this easier, is we're going to do something called a clamshell. So it's roughly the same movement with a little bit of little differences. So my heels are tight together, they don't move, and all I'm doing is trying to create a little bit of space between my knees. So right about there. It's roughly about a fist and a half to start. So all I want is this movement here. It's still getting at the glute, which is what I want. It's just a little bit easier version. Now, what I don't want, some people do this. They really open up, they start to roll back. As I mentioned at the beginning, these hips, I really want them stacked. I really want them one on top of the other. So this is plenty of movement. That's all we need for now. And once you get more comfortable with that, you can work on straightening the leg and lifting the leg up. Again, when you're doing this one, you really don't want you to rotate. Try to keep that leg turned down a little bit. Really lead with that heel. Okay, so for our last exercise of the workout, we're going to do shoulder taps. Now, very, very straightforward exercise, so let's get right into it. So I'll do it from the front on my hands and knees. But what I would like you to do is try to do it in the push-up position. So, from the front, all you're going to do, reach, touch your shoulders, okay? I am showing you the regression right now. On your hands and knees, you're just touching your shoulders. That's the easiest way to do it. Now, the regular way, in a push-up position, again, keep that core nice and contracted. Touch, touch, touch. Now, this, you're gonna do 10 total, so 5 each arm. This one I really want you to focus on keeping that core contracted the whole time. If you can do it in front of a mirror, that would be perfect, because then you can see if your back starts to sag. That's usually the number one thing that happens with this exercise, is you get that. And that's really hard in the back. So we need to contract the core, have that back nice and flat. So we've done a lot of pushing exercises today. So really try, when you're doing a push-up or anything that's involving this position, try to get your fingers involved. People tend to push on their heels because that's where their weight can go. That can, get a little bit uncomfortable if you're doing an extended workout like we are here. So when you're doing this, or any of the other exercises I've shown you, really try to grip with those fingers, get those fingers involved, take a little bit of pressure off your wrists. Alternately, I guess you could go in this position as well. Okay, so you made it. That's the end of my exercise program. This can be used, any exercises can be interchanged. If you like the other exercises more, feel free to stick those in. This idea of supersetting is something that you can be used for any exercise you can think of. It's mainly designed to keep that heart rate elevated, which research shows that's where you get the true benefits from exercise, is getting that heart rate up, getting huffing and puffing a little bit. So thanks for bearing with me with my rough cameramanship. It was done on my phone. But I just want to give you guys a little bit of an exercise to keep you occupied through this quarantine. So if you have any questions about anything I've gone over, you can just leave them in the description or anything. Leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll try to get to them when I can, which I have a lot of time. So feel free to ask any questions. All right, thanks.